Morning, folks. This little screencast deals with the process of actually writing questions in itembank. And before we do anything else, please just don't panic. This will actually be pretty painless. And once you've learned how to use the duplicate feature, it should actually be a fairly simple process and not nearly as long as this first time around. But I'm going to actually start from here. How do I get to itembank? Well, the easiest way is to actually just go into assessments and come down to visit itembank. And all I would do is click there, but that would actually take me the first time to the login page. And so I'm going to go over here just to show you what that screen looks like. The difference between the item bank and the login for just Illuminate itself is that you'll actually need to use your school email address here and your password. So the password would be the same one that you use for logging in every place else, but this part will actually be your email address. So if I'm here and I come down to visit item bank, it will actually just take me over so that I'm actually at the start page. I've already actually created some things, but we're just going to go from 0. So I'm going to hit create, and what I actually want to do is a new item, not an assessment or a passage yet. I just want to do a new item. So I'll click on new item, then I'll click on create. Now it pulls down the question that you're actually going to start from. I'm going to try to keep this really generic the first time around so that I can actually reuse this question a number of times. So the first thing is you have the options of multiple choice or several other possibilities, but I'm only going to cover the multiple choice question. Now this teacher instructions, if you were proctoring this test and you actually needed to write down some specific information, that would be where that would go. Now for the stem, I'm just going to write in a really basic thing that I can use. So there's the question, and now I need to save it and to continue. And once I've actually saved the question, then I've actually got the option of actually adding the answers. I'm going to go down in here and I'm actually going to click A because I need one answer just in order to be able to work with this. So I've got that, and I've got the answer. Now I could actually go in and fill in some of the other information now, but like I said, what I'm going to use this question for is actually just as a duplicate. So at this point I have those, and I'll need to save it again. Okay, now when you start into details or these other tabs across the top, it's possible to understand why you'd want to actually duplicate instead of actually doing each one of these tabs each time. Because the first one, details, it's going to want a couple of things. Now, there's a lot of information on the page that you could actually fill in, but really the only two that you're going to need are this one. You need to select a bank. If you don't select a bank, you won't be able to find your questions. And then the second thing you'll need to do is select a media type. Now, because there are 3 possibilities, I'm just going to choose paper and web because I know I'm going to have to use at least the paper at some point and hopefully the web later on things where I might be trying to do these from a web-based question. Okay, and I'll need to save that one again. And once I have that information saved, then I'll start into standards. Now the standards, in the arts where we're working from a limited set of possible questions, meaning there hasn't been a lot out there written and published, so I'll actually need to do all of this information each time. Otherwise the easiest thing would be to search them. But I'm going to start out with type. And I come down here and I'm looking for Utah's, and there's Utah Core Curriculum. Then I'll actually select a subject, visual arts, and finally I'll select my own area, ceramics. Now at this point it gives you a lot of possibilities in terms of questions that have actually been published. Well, I have 15 out there, but I'm pretty sure that all of them are questions that I've written. But I'm going to select that one again because I just want the stem for a bunch of other questions that I can duplicate from. So I've got the basic information that I need, and then I hit passage. Now passage in my case I don't need. If you were in language arts and you had a passage from a text or something like that that multiple questions were going to be used from, then this would be the area that you want to add that. Preview it now, and at this point there's the question, there's the answer, and then there's the box down at the bottom that says you could view it, exactly how it's going to be, or you could duplicate it. And then the next tab is publish, but I'm not going to publish this one because I'm just using this as a root question. I'll use this as something that I actually want to copy and use again. So I could go back at this point, back to my items, and I'll see that that one is actually there. So if I clicked on this question to edit it, then it might be the first thing that I actually want to do is actually fill this one in and use that question, or I could actually just come down here and say, okay, I want to preview that question again, and I want to duplicate it. Now when I duplicate it, it's just going to ask me if I want to, and yes I do. When I could duplicate that question, that means when I go back to my items, I actually have two possibilities now. And now I can edit either one of these questions to be exactly what I want it to be, to go back in and publish it. So if I looked at, for example, a question where I've already done that, I look at this question, for example, it gives me the option of actually adding pictures or things like that, what type of line. It gives the answer through that, and even this one I could go back in and duplicate. The difference on this one is that it actually has been published already, and so I can actually find it when I go into a search it when I'm looking through to create an assessment. I go back to my items again, and I can see that I've still got all of those options. I have a number of questions that I've written down here at this point. A lot of them were just things where I was actually just trying out the system. But it gives you the basic process of how you write a question. Now, like I said, the only other difference is that at the end you would want to publish it. The only thing to know about that is that once you publish the question, once you go to the area where you're going to actually publish it, once you go to the area where you're going to publish it, first of all, I would have had to finish the question. But once you publish it, you can't go back and change it. So you need to make pretty sure that you're comfortable with what that is. But again, you can go in and actually duplicate that question, make adjustments, but it means that you'll have both of those out there from there on. That's the whole video. I hope if there are any questions, please let me know. And that's all you need to know, I guess. Thank you.